Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Aqueduct. Cloudy skies, rain has started to fall here in South Ozone Park. Temperature right around 40 degrees. Main track is muddy for today's 9-race card. The featured La Verdad going as race number 8. Empire 6 starts in race number 4. Here are the changes for today's races. Early pick 5 starts in race number 1. Scratch the number 2, Barefoot Dancer. Number 2, Barefoot Dancer, is out of race number 1. The early pick 4 begins in race 2. You can scratch the 1A, Dan the Man Can. Scratch the 1A, Dan the Man Can, out of race number 2. A scratch from race 3. Take out the number 2, Zuzudini. Race 3, scratch the number 2, Zuzudini. Empire 6 with a mandatory payout begins in race 4. There are no changes. And there are no changes in race number 5, the start of the late pick 5. A scratch from race 6 where the late pick 4 begins. Scratch the number 6, Air Attack. Race 6, scratch the 6, Air Attack. A scratch from race 7, take out the 1A, microsecond. Race 7, scratch the 1A, microsecond. Race number 8 is the 4th running of the La Verdad. Scratch the number 1, Timely Tradition. In race 8, scratch the 1, Timely Tradition. And a scratch out of race number 9, take out the 4, Winter Warrior. Race number 9, scratch the 4, Winter Warrior. Muddy main track. Empire 6 begins in race number 4 with a mandatory payout. We'll be back with a reprise of the scratches and changes at 11:50. First post is 12:20. Coming up next, we wrap the first week of the new year with the Sunday edition of Talking Horses with myself and Andy Serling.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. Track announcer Anthony Stabile, myself, Andy Serling. How are you?
It was fun yesterday. Good races yesterday. Good performances yesterday.
Was. I agree.
That firster, huh? Breakfast at Bonnie's?
That horse ran.
She got 77, 78?
Buyer, yeah. No, she did run. And I tell you what, she was right on top of the pace, and they were moving up front. She didn't even break that sharply and rushed up. She was ready to roll.
Rush between,
for their
had the outside run.
I told you that I would clip that thing. You're a mess over
Oh, did I not
You're
do
like
it?
just a disaster. It's
I
really.
forgot to do it. You did offer to do it.
I did. I really did.
No jacket during the changes. No jacket during the changes.
You're relaxing during the changes?
Yeah, you got to do the changes. Nice
I want to do the
relaxed.
changes one day next week.
Okay.
It's just a dream of mine. It's been a goal of mine since I was a little kid.
See,
I always wanted to do the changes.
You say, are you serious?
No.
I did.
Well,
that's what I mean.
You have issues that I don't have. I have plenty of issues you don't have.
Right, exactly.
Between us, we've got them all covered.
We got them all covered. Every single issue on the planet is covered up here.
If you're not a member of Naira Bets, you do not have everything covered. So head on over to nairabets.com. If you're not a member, we will match the $200 deposit. Match up to $200 your initial deposit. Use the promo code MATCH200. nairabets.com. Support racing in New York. What else? Oh, we got a 50-50 with Laurel. I actually like these. You know, I like these. $50 each track, $10 bonus or more through the app and the app only.
Today it's Laurel.
You ever been to Laurel?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you've been in the millions. Yeah, you used to cover it sometimes, right?
Yeah, we went 18, 19. And it's unfortunate because it's usually Empire Showcase.
I know. I covered it once, did a broadcast with Masson, Jay Privman and I.
Yeah.
I did it, actually. I think that was 07, actually. Maybe
Usually get to visit my friend Sally Ellen Hurst from Country Life Farm, because we usually do the Equine Forum from Country Life or Maryland Farm, and then we head over to do Maryland Millions.
I like Laurel. Nice track. I used to go to the DC International. My friend Mo and I used to drive down and go to that all the time. Yeah.
And I was there when right before they started the construction, and kind of during construction, doing a nice job.
I don't think I've been there since 07.
Wow.
It's hard when we're here.
18, 19.
Yeah,
18. Well, like you said.
Back in the 80s, we used to take our horse-drawn buggy down there. So it'd take a while, but, you know, handled it. Walked the Appalachian Trail.
Was there a Laurel? That was the Bowie Express, right?
Yeah, that was Bowie because they raced in the winter.
Did you go to Bowie?
No, Bowie's before my time.
That was Harvey was a big Bowie Express
Well, he used to
guy.
talk about that all the time. The buses from New York, those must have been legends.
Harvey was a Pony Express guy, and then he went to the Bowie Express.
I think Harvey actually was involved with Paul Revere. I think.
He bet the other horse.
He's probably watching, actually.
Howie bet the other horse.
Big hello to Harvey.
Hi,
Happy New Year, Harvey.
Hi, Harvey.
Greatest. Yeah, you know that what Laurel is infamous for among horse players.
No.
I think I've mentioned this before. They were the first track to put in a replay center.
Like our old kiosk here?
Yeah, they were the first track to do it. Joe DeFrancis, when Joe was running Laurel back in the day, way before, back in the 80s. Sure, they were ahead of us. And they also, the TV's up, remember, in the clubhouse, probably a couple of places, probably in the Sports Palace as well, where they would show the replays of each race too. They'd have TVs, like first race designated, first race second. They would just continuously roll them. And that's something they were trailblazers.
Our old replay center is near and dear to my heart. I was telling somebody.
Where you and I used to hang.
Well, I was telling somebody there. I was like, Andy and I have been doing this for 30 years. They just pay us now. Well, we'll have our own one of those one day.
Well, the replay kiosk, and anyone knows that was used to come to the Big A, especially back in the 90s.
Put the request in, get the videotape.
But that was the center of the action on the main floor of Aqueduct. Just everybody was around. All the sickos
we used to yell at each other for our selections there, but now we do it in closed confines and they pay us. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I miss the back day. Different crews in different places. You think about how different people were. The boys used to hang out in the Sunny Gym room back then, and also I remember when Brad Thomas and Mark Siegelob and those guys used to be on the third floor of the grandstand. Used to walk up and see them sometimes.
Long shots used to be the man of war room. The horse that ran in the second yesterday, Galliano, nephew of my father's first owner, when he went on his own. Yeah, a guy named Charlie Gagliano. His nephew Jay owned the horse in the second race. Just saw the horse was running at Thistle was with his last name. He just went and bought the horse.
Tremendous. All right, race number 1. Take a look at Amity Island, finishing second. Rosie's Peach finishing 4th. I don't know. I got to tell you something about Amity Island. I'm not excited by this horse. I don't need to bet these mediocre, cheaper Chad Brown horses that are supposed to be about 2-1 that go off about even money because Chad Brown trains them. Sorry.
Fair enough. Hey, listen, that's fair enough.
This horse was kind of running when the race was over. I mean, honestly, arguably Rosie's Peach, who you won a lunch on, as she ran this big race and still finished fourth. I mean, I don't think you're going to argue. I mean, lunch bet aside, I don't think you're going to argue. Did she really run? I think she ran better than Amity Island. What did Amity Island do?
She did most of the heavy lifting, right?
She was running when the race was over.
I don't know.
She's just not much worse.
Listen, this was an absolute cop-out pick. I thought about putting the horse you put on top, but to be honest with you, I just figured she'd kind of lay up to a similar trip, and that might just be enough in here.
Why? Why?
Well, I mean,
isn't the 6 Maria's Gift the main speed in here?
Yeah, but you would have to. I would have to think with the blinkers going on and Rosie's Peach being kind of aggressive in the last 2 starts. I know it didn't go that fast, but
they weren't going fast though.
I know.
She's not.
I know.
You know, I forgot. I obviously had just there was a stat I really wanted to put up for Maria's Gift, and I just looked down at the stats and I realized I forgot to send it in. Ray Handel, amazing stats for him. This is something I didn't expect at all. I must have never looked this up before, or maybe I didn't. I'm just getting old. Maiden special and a maiden claim in the dirt. You know that he's 5 for 13 with 8 hitting the board with a 446 ROI?
That's great.
And with New York breds, he's 4 for 6. So when he's made this drop with these horses, he's had good numbers. Now, to handle a wet track, I was kind of hoping you get a dry track today. Obviously, that didn't happen. This is an interesting weekend. We've had different wet tracks as a result of different rain every day, and that track, it looks sealed out there. And I imagine it dried a little from yesterday, but the rain is just starting to sprinkle in.
And it's not supposed to stop. It's supposed to just be a steady.
Yeah, I think we saw a
day.
track that you want to stay away from the inside. I'm not convinced 100% the rail was completely dead yesterday because a little running was down there, but it did seem like an awful lot of rallies were
Dead
muted
is
inside.
probably the wrong word.
Better off outside.
But you're just better off.
Yeah.
And I think that has been the one constant through the week.
No, not true on Friday. Not true on Friday.
Okay.
No, I think the
Friday,
riders.
Friday was a little
when the
speedy.
track was sealed, it was true. And I think a lot of the riders are staying off the rail because better safe than sorry. But Kendrick went down there a couple times, and Kendrick's a pretty sharp guy when it comes to racetracks. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just get in a situation where there's nothing you can do, and you get stuck down there. It seemed like Kendrick's on it a couple times, and that made me think if Kendrick's down there 2 races in a row, maybe it's not that bad. Anyway, I also thought Employees Only a little bit interesting, not only because I like the bar, which the horse is named after the bar. Been to the bar with the owner of this horse on a number of occasions. Only a few of them did I actually have a screaming fight with him. Which another friend of ours remembers well. You
were fighting with somebody?
He's worse than I am. He's more argumentative than I am, actually. It's close. I don't know. It's like affirmed denali.
That's a photo
we
finish.
Could be the affirmed denali.
That's a photo finish that goes to tonalist. Wow,
somebody argumentative people in racing.
It's like somebody having a bigger appetite.
Put myself
than me.
on the level of affirmed denali, or maybe from an arguing standpoint. By the way, why are you just dismissing a Linda Rice second-time starter? You're going to let a Linda Rice second-time starter win and pay $20, and you don't use that horse at all? I'm just pointing it out. So what?
Horse didn't do.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
neither did that Montauk horse of hers that came.
Yeah, but that was a little different.
Sorry, if you leave Linda Rice second-time starters out at big prices, you're going to say after the race, I can't believe I like a horse in second race. I'm not alive in the double, and this horse won and just paid $27. You're supposed to throw it in.
Yeah.
Don't
you might be right.
Why? Who else in here are you do you need so much?
I wanted to mess around with the 8 Quashana a little bit. Sources out of it by Exaggerator of a Medaglia d'Oro mare. Exaggerator did amazing work on wet tracks. Yeah. And I think that,
The Tomlinson's 398.
So it's not 400, but there's an asterisk.
Big Tomlinson in the last race.
But there's
by the last race winner yesterday. See, there you go.
That's all you need.
Now
this horse has the asterisk because I'm assuming because of Exaggerator's love for a wet track, they were going to wait to see. All kidding aside, this horse is a little wet track,
Maybe.
Pedigree.
This horse better like a wet track. This horse better love a wet track. This horse better be Centilo on a wet track.
At a price, I wouldn't mind messing around with this horse and gimmicks a little bit.
Race number 2. Race number 2 is tough.
Race number 2 is tough.
And I'm going to tell you something. I'm not defaulting the horse you picked. I put him second on the outside. I guess people like this horse because this horse supposedly likes a wet track.
Yeah, I think he's
run well in dry tracks.
He has.
I don't really think it's a wet track horse. I think he just handles it.
I think he does a little bit. I think he does a little bit better work on
The best figure he's ever run by far is on a dry track. He's just
his best figures on his best figures
the
on
75.
Oh,
he's got a 76.
This race at Saratoga closing
last
day
race of the meet.
Yeah.
Always depressing when you see horses in from the last race of the meet.
You know what was more
You know what I
depressing
mean?
about this?
That was the last time?
I made a bailout bet on impunity. And there was a spill, and impunity got bothered by the spill and probably should have won.
I made a get out score, not get out, but a big score in the last race when Edgar Prado won a horse. I know I was seeing a friend of mine up there. 16 or 17 was a horse for Donna Green that had run a week before.
Yep.
And won the last race and paid like $30.
Can't remember.
Yeah.
Closest I made to a get out score was my first meet at the New York Post in '99. Bill Mott had a horse named Dream for a Moment. Robbie Davis rode the horse.
And for a moment you dreamed him.
Horse paid $55, and everybody
all right, enough
liked
remember
the horse.
when.
It was a good
So
day.
going on in Dr. Devera's way.
Yeah, I mean,
who I think is going to be short in here.
He's going to be short. He's getting back to a wet track. He's getting back, I think. You know, we talk about the condition claimers and the levels. I do think there's a difference between the quarter 3 lifes and the 14 3 lifes. And I think it's discernible enough where it's a drop.
No, it's a drop. I don't disagree.
He's dropping. He's getting what I think. I do think he's a little bit better on a wet track.
He was off the tree. He was off the rail last time too, and the rail is the place to be. And that race was wired by a horse, Ryan's Cat, who Anthony didn't have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thanks.
It's a good call.
I don't. I didn't have a strong opinion in here. I thought it was him or a little Mucho Jack.
I think it's any of the 1, 2, 3, and 7 basically in here. I'm not differentiating in this race. I think because it's a very hard race to trust anybody. And I will say, probably Dr. Devera's way is the most trustworthy of the logical horses. So
I think that's the best way to put it.
I think his form is held up reasonably well. He's had some excuses. He seems like a logical horse. You know he's going to handle a wet track, whether or not he's just a horse that likes a wet track. He handles it. Now, I want to look at the Macho Jack Oh My Papa race because I love looking back at races at Saratoga where I lost inexplicably, and I had no excuse for Oh My Papa who I needed for a fortune this day. And I mean, you talk about a horse that was home. There was a favorite in this race I hated, I remember. So Rudy horse or a Chad horse?
Well, didn't Rudy win?
There was a terrible favorite in here when I yelled at you about not to bet. That definitely was a favorite in this race.
I picked the horse, or we both disliked
you picked
the horse?
it. No, I picked it. And I yelled at you, throw that horse out. But heavy favorite. And Macho Jack says came and get him. What annoys me about it is, look at Macho Jack. Now, to be fair, he actually ran well in his next start when he was running first time for Tony Dutrow. Last time was a complete debacle for him. Maybe he was a little too close to the pace. Now, to be fair, my horse has kind of fallen apart too. Oh My Papa. Isn't Oh My Papa the main speed here, though?
He's supposed to be. The 2 horses I thought were interesting, and they're going to be shorter prices. Well, one of them, Macho Jack's going to be shorter because I don't know what happened last time. You know, he kind of just fell apart.
Should have been better than that. It was
Yeah.
7 furlongs. I wonder if getting back to 6 will help his chances. Obviously, it's Wayne Potts.
The horse I was a little.
Air Touch, that Todd Pletcher horse was 2 to 5,
Okay.
and I hated that horse.
He
I
ran
remember.
third. No, he ran off the
I
board.
think he ran.
Yeah.
I think he's around the 8th.
No, he ran third. Yeah, there he is. He ran third. I remember this now.
Yeah, he was 2 to 5.
Beachfront, I thought Beachfront was a little interesting in here. This horse was claimed by Pat Quick. He ran okay the debut by Bobby, ran out of his skin. Then he came back and won. I don't know what happened to him last time either. The difference is we don't know what happened with Macho Jack, and he's going to be 2 to 1, 5 to 2. Beachfront's going to be 6, 7, 8 to 1. Kendrick stays after riding him last time.
The problem is he doesn't have a single race that makes him competitive.
No, I understand that, but
Well, you've got too many horses that are continuously faster than him. That's my problem with him.
okay.
He's
Fair
got to
enough.
hope that the entire field doesn't show
Fair
up,
enough.
basically, to get it done, which
Fair
maybe
enough.
will happen. Queens Mason chased that pace, the somebody race. The pace fell apart. Now drops down. I think this is a significant drop down for this horse, and I thought that he'd be in a good position, stalking perhaps Oh My Papa in this race. So I took him. He's my play. I thought his price would be okay. I don't love him, but
David has him 5 to 2. David has him second choice in the morning line.
I don't believe that'll happen. He's usually right, but I don't believe that horse is going to be the heavy second choice.
All right.
Maybe. Looking at doubles, right? That's too early to look at doubles.
Oh,
We'll see.
does it count? I heard from Flying P, the first person I talked to this morning.
Does he have any of that pizza you used to have in Saratoga?
No, he wanted me.
If he could bring one of those
chiming in very
pizzas
late
down.
about Bill Daly.
Oh.
Very late chiming on Bill Daly.
We only had 37 people on Twitter tell us, which we appreciate.
I didn't have the heart to.
You should have.
To tell him.
Didn't you ask him if he could bring one of those pizzas? Those pizzas are from your place.
Nove.
From Nove. Tremendous. He always has them in Saratoga.
I turned them on to Mother Kelly's down here too.
You can feel free, Jay, to bring them by anytime. We're always
All the
available.
Kellys, just go see Glenn
Race
and Mark
number
and bring 'em
3.
over.
Could probably sell them here to a few of us. It's a cottage industry.
Start scalping pizza.
I think in race
My
number
dream
3
job.
that Johnny Pump is the proverbial kick. We'll take a look at his race at Monmouth. I'm going to say something. I don't think he's a turf horse. I think this is a dirt horse. I know he didn't run as well in his first start. Those are better horses. I mean, horse to beat him here his first time start is pretty darn good.
Yes.
His profile's third is not a bad horse. I just think this horse is just better than these horses.
He could be. He may very
I think
well
his turf
be.
race, he's just a bad turf horse. He's not a turf horse. Turf races are all bad. Good trips in those races, nothing going on. I just think he ran better races in the dirt. I think he lays over this field. I think he's supposed to be 4 to 5 in here. Honestly.
He could be.
Well,
He
the
could
other
be.
problem is the horse that you have on
Well, I
top.
picked a filly
Oh,
against the boys.
Yeah, you have a ridiculous horse on top.
But Bill Mott's running. Bill Mott and Leanna Wilford, who's Bill's assistant up here, both know that this is a filly running against the boys. My assumption is the 9
really?
furlong.
You're sure?
My assumption
Leanna
is
might.
the 9 furlong
Bill.
race. The 9 furlong race.
I'm
I
confident
don't know
Leanna
if there's a
knows.
9 furlong race for the fillies.
Well, that's obviously there isn't. That's why they ran her.
So
I
because the Halo
understand.
City's a filly as well, so there's 2 fillies in here against the boys.
Do you really think her first race was a gimme? Because watching it, I don't know, man. She broke a step slow. She was bad.
I'm going to give her one chance. I mean, she does
Is there a
have
big story
pedigree.
on this horse?
No,
It's
she
not
has
a
a
big
pedigree.
Bill
It's supposed to
Mott
like
phone
a
call?
wet track. No, there's no phone call here. Pedigree says she's
How
going
do
to like
you
a wet
have
track.
the 4-3rd here, Anthony?
Because I don't trust this horse. I think this horse is going to be a very short price. And I
As
just
he
don't
should
trust,
be.
I don't trust this horse. See, I thought the 1 Bourbon Rising was a little interesting in here.
Eek.
I really do.
Because
third off
why?
a year layoff, this horse ran into a decent sprinter, nice 1-turn horse in the Sound first time.
What about
Came
last time?
back. I don't think he ran that poorly last time, and now he's going to get some ground. I mean, I think he's.
Why is he better at more distance?
I think he's going to be okay with a little more distance.
Why is he, though? All of his races
I
suggest
don't know
he's
why.
not.
I don't.
Well, his races on paper suggest he's not better with more distance. They don't suggest he's worse that much, probably worse,
Well-
but they certainly don't suggest he's better with more distance.
So his first race with distance, he gets beat 4 lengths to Forza d'Oro.
But he had
then,
speed.
Hold on. He then leaves for a year.
Okay.
Now, he might not be able to run it. He might not be.
But he wasn't finishing last time, Anth.
Okay, but it was his second start off a year plus
Okay,
layoff.
that
Now
was
he's got
his
the third
third.
start. Mark's had a good start
So
to
you
this
think
meet.
he's going to get better because he started off a layoff, not because he gets more distance? Because there's nothing
think-
you can say. That's just like saying I think that he really wants to make a garden in his backyard.
No, I
Well,
understand.
what about him suggests he wants more distance?
I want to give him
Low
a chance.
Tomlinson.
More. I'm just worried about his Tomlinson.
Yes, you are. I
These
know.
horses, I like that he started off the layoff. I like that Mark's barn is going good right now. And
Okay,
I just
fine,
think
but
this
the more
horse,
distance is a red herring because there's nothing to say other than I think he wants a red bicycle.
Well, you don't think he made probably a little bit of a
Coronet.
premature move last time?
Not really.
I don't know.
Not really. He was sort of.
I want to give this horse one more chance,
That's
and I
fine,
think he'll be a
but the more
decent enough
distance
price.
is sort of.
See, the most interesting horse in here is the horse you have second.
Well,
Nothing, because this horse was a horse that they had very high hopes for. He took money first time out.
is he really any good? We'll look at his third place finish, like 6-1 first time. This maiden race he was in first time was one where a lot of people liked horses. Well, Toledo finished second, won the next time. He ain't much horse. How much money did he
No,
burn in
no,
2020?
I don't disagree with you.
Okay, now, fifth was Modernist. Modernist obviously improved with more distance, and frankly, Modernist really wasn't that good either. For the most part, this is, you know what this is? This is a maiden field of disappointments. Decent disappointments, but well-bred, expensive, well-trained by some of the top trainers in the game, disappointments. Is that unfair?
I don't disagree.
And then they stretch him out. And I mean, even I saw John Kimmel's comments in the notes. Obviously, he's not thrilled getting a 1.125 race coming off of a 14-month layoff. He wanted to get a little more. Doesn't mean he doesn't think the horse can get the distance, but you're still trying to get 9 furlongs off of 14-plus months.
And ultimately, it's kind of why I shied away from him. But he's the kind of horse where, you know, he took money the first time into a field where a lot of guys like their horses, like you said. He was 2-1 into Forza d'Oro. Forza d'Oro was 2-5 that day, 3-5
wasn't.
when he broke his maiden. He came. Remember, he came off the bad trip. Forzero was prohibitive when he broke his maiden.
I don't think so, but Steve, feel free to text me and let me know what he paid, but I don't think he was.
Remember he ran second to...
I know, he got left. I don't believe he was prohibitive when he won.
I thought he was prohibitive. And this horse was second choice.
Maybe he was.
into him.
Maybe he was. You may be
And
right.
then him and Bourbon Rising both missed over a year coming out of that race. I
It
don't see that
was
a
a
lot.
very taxing race.
I don't see that a lot.
It's a very, Forzero missed a ton of time after that race.
All three. No, he ran in the Remsen, and then he missed a ton of time.
You're right.
But these two came right out of that race and missed over a year.
You're on your game here. All right, you and I completely disagree in this race.
I just don't trust Johnny
I've
Pup
got
with a
your
short price.
6/3.
This is a horse you very rarely. This is the kind of horse you very rarely put on top. Horse coming in from Monmouth.
He lays over this field. You're right. Forzero is 4-5, correct.
You might be right. Listen. He might lay over this field. I don't trust him at even money.
I think it's a layup.
Okay.
Race number 4. Oh, the fourth race starts the
Empire.
Empire.
Yeah. I think it's
We pay it out every day in January, if not more
another
than that.
17 cards, including today.
All right, race number 4. Let's take a look at Cold Hard Cash, 2 races back. He runs this race from 2 races back. He'll win this race for fun.
For fun.
I have no argument that his last race is a concern. I'm going to say he was steady at the start, just kind of dragged out of the race a little bit. I got to tell you, I thought he was eating some dirt. Could have been a kickback issue. Never really got into a race that was dominated on the front end. I'm going to give him a break for that. I understand being concerned about his last race. I don't have a problem with that. I just think he's too better than these. And frankly, Jose Lezcano is a good rider, switched to Jose, and I think he's going to be aggressive, put him right in the race. He's the speed of the speed. Just go and let the other horses try to catch him.
He makes a lot of sense.
he's
He's
a
another
big
horse I
favorite.
just don't want as a horse that's even money.
That's fine.
Yeah. I
What
went
do
to
you
the
like
one
on Microscope?
Microscope who's handled wet tracks. I don't know if he's going to handle the 9 furlongs, but I didn't really like anybody else in here. I felt like this horse's last 2 races were okay. I know he's taking a step up in class, but in all
Step up in
honesty,
class. No, he's taking a gigantic leap up in
but
class.
let me ask you a question. Okay, it's an A other than.
I got him 3rd.
Obviously,
and
right?
I'm not.
I know it's an
I
A
don't
other
think
than.
he's going to win, but it got him 3rd.
Is Forever Wicked really an A other than? Open Lengths Brokers made it for 20.
Oh, your assumption is the 7 isn't going to run.
No,
if the 7
I'm not
runs,
saying
the
he's not
7's
gonna
going to
run.
beat the 1 like a drum.
I'm saying, and I don't disagree
Yeah,
with that.
I know that. You're
But
a little skeptical.
that
That's
last
fine.
race, that last race makes me want to take a step back and maybe just look for a little bit of a fuzzy against them.
I think
Playing pick 4s and pick 5s, I would lean more heavily on the 7, Cold Hard Cash, but at 7-8 to 1.
No advanced strategy for you?
Yeah,
Why?
I don't know what to do with you.
Likes distance of the turf.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He did. I don't know.
Not sure he's not as really. Maybe he's just improved. I don't love him, but he's the other horse for me. I'm going to use 4s and 7s.
Okay.
I mean, I get the 1. The 1 seems like the 3rd likeliest winner. I don't disagree. The others just don't seem like they're good enough. But the 1 had a very favorable pace scenario last time that completely fell apart, and the race got a little bit dropped in his lap.
I don't
and that's the
disagree.
problem. He's running off a dressed-up 77 buyer because circumstances led to the big figure.
Mm-hmm.
This is another one when he doesn't run well today. People say, "Oh, he bounced." No, he didn't bounce. No. Perfect situation last time. Imperfect today. Race number 5 ends the early pick 4 and pick 5. Kicks off the late pick 5. I don't have a strong opinion here. The horse that you and I have won 2. I could have had him in either order. I don't imagine you feel it much differently. We'll look at Sirenic, and I think this is Sirenic's race 2 back. She finished 2nd. Probably should have won that day. Eric gave her a very lax ride. This is one where, being less aggressive cost him the win, and Suz was allowed to walk on the front end. She lost to a better horse and Invaluable last time out. I just thought she was the more likely of the 2. And the problem that I have with Miss Mimi, it will show in a second, is I bet her last time. I don't need her today at 2 to 1 after getting $15 last time. I just thought Serenic was probably the better of the 2.
This starter,
Nothing clever.
it's an interesting starter race for the simple fact that Miss Mimi is kind of a little bit of a ringer. Better get your microphone.
This is a good time to switch to a single.
Yeah, come to me. Miss Mimi's a little bit of a ringer. You go through the rest of the field. Ancient Brown's won 1 race. She's a black belt 2. Mama Kin won. Adwar won. She's won 6 times. And a lot of the times these starters are for these horses that just get out of the maiden ranks. And you also
Let's show a race while you're talking about
and
Miss Mimi.
we could look at Miss Mimi getting the job done last time. Andy got a good price on a 6.5 to 1 last time. The 3's turning 4 now. And I know we've started in the last 10 years to run around a lot of these races. I still think the older fillies and mares have a little bit of an edge.
Why? Wouldn't they be getting worse while the 3's turning 4, potentially getting better?
They're stronger, they're more mature.
I think that's a flawed argument.
I don't think it is.
I think that's a flawed argument. I think you've got one horse, a 3 turning 4 is more likely to be improving, whereas a 6-year-old is more likely to be going the wrong way. So I think there's more reason for improvement. By the way, Eddie has very good numbers off of wins and dirt sprints for what it's worth. I knew if I looked hard enough, I'd find something that Eddie does well. So I searched Eddie, well. and I found something. So congratulations, Eddie. That picture, I think that's his high school yearbook picture, actually.
That was just my, is that even him?
I think that was...
I'm like you. It's 2s and 7s. That was the turning point for me.
Well, what about the 6 City Temper? What if she's the speed here? Man, you just go with her.
I guess she could be the speed, yeah.
She's coming out of a much tougher field.
She beat Dahl going 5.5 furlongs.
I get it. I don't love her, but I don't think she's that much slower. I'll put it this way. To me, the consistent runner is Sirenic, who's run 3 straight good races. Miss Mimi finally ran after a succession of poor races, and I know it was off the claim for Barker, but I don't think she's reliable. I think she's a concern, whereas I think Sirenic seems to be consistent.
That's a fair point. Miss Mimi also got a little bit of a break, and we've seen this namely with Jump for Joy when we had to go to the break. You know, sometimes these mares, as they start to get a little older, they need a little bit of a break. Jump for Joy looked like she was going the wrong way. We had the break in March. She came back. She hasn't missed a board. This filly comes back from a little bit of a freshening, runs a good race. They're the two for
Princess Corey? You think she's impossible?
No, I don't think
she's
she's
a lightly
impossible.
raced horse off a big win for Brittany Russell. Who's a dangerous trainer. I mean, I love that horse, but I don't think she's impossible here. I don't know.
No, I mean, she's not impossible, but
I trusted the 7 more than I trusted the 2. That was the bottom line.
That's
also
fair enough.
A shorter price, so.
That's fair enough.
All right, late pick 4 after a quick break.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Big A, Anthony Stabile.
That's me.
Andy Serling. The smaller A. Race number 6.
Much smaller A.
What did you do race number 6?
I went to Family Biz.
Who I think is the worst to beat.
I went to Family Biz, yeah. This was a little bit of an interesting race. And, you know, Family Biz going to get the 3rd start, getting claimed back from Dave Duggan. Claimed back to Dave
Claude
Duggan.
has some things going on, okay? You give a little respect for Claude.
Come on, man. I'm trying to talk here.
Don't look at me. Go ahead. I think Claude's okay now.
Dropping back in for where he was claimed. I mean, I didn't have much to say about this, about the race. I thought it was a race where there were 2 horses that could win the race.
I don't agree with that assessment at all. But
really,
you find these races just so easy. Every time you say that, the 2 horses, they're rarely in the exacta.
See, the 3rd horse here as the horse I think you have on top, but he's missed too much time for me.
This is not a 2-horse race. Anyway, Family Biz ran a race 2 back against the Sound. I'm going to want to see that fig validated. Because he got a 104, either he's a stakes horse or not, I don't know. But he did run a big figure before that. He did not run at all last time, Family Biz, and that does worry me, but he does drop down. And he's just a super logical horse in here. As far as Dark Storm, second off a little bit of he's out for over 10 months. Now he comes back second time off of 2 months since then, but he probably couldn't find a race. He's dueling with money moves. He had no shot in that race first time out. So, I'll give him a break for that.
But then
he does some back races.
He disappears for 10 weeks again,
I don't, Well, I don't know. Which race did he not run in that he was supposed to run in? That's the problem with you saying that. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know that he missed a start. Maybe he did. Maybe they were trying to find a spot. Maybe there wasn't the right claim. Maybe the owner didn't want to run him for $30,000, and they were saying, we got to run this horse for a tag. There's a disagreement. I don't know. So they were just coming back.
Cost basis running the two other end. He could have ran in that race.
But he didn't want to run. He didn't want to run there. He couldn't beat him.
I
Couldn't
guess.
win. He wants to put him where he can win. Regardless of the thing, I'm not in love with him. I think he's going to be a slightly better price. I thought he was a little bit dangerous. I got a stat for George Weaver. Also, allowance to claimer on the dirt. He's got good numbers, 33% with 21 starters. I just thought these were the right two horses because after we're done with the stat, we'll show the replay of Super Dude's race. I know he lost Creative Style, who ran huge yesterday, but that was off the claim for Gargan. I'm not gonna put that.
And dropping in and cutting in half.
I don't love Super Dude. I just don't think he's that good. He's got to go a long way back before he's good. Tell you what, he's not winning if he runs this race.
No, he's not. I think it's a good sign, though, that Rudy's claiming this horse back.
Well, you're using Rudy claims, which is fine. You did the stake yesterday. I'm going to tell you something. I think that Hammer and Ammer is a little dangerous in this race off the Wayne Potts claim. He's aggressively moving this horse up off a bad race. That's a little odd. So this is a guy who's, this is a guy that you're picking an awful lot of his horses, and now you're going to leave this one out. And I think he's a horse that has back races.
Last time.
Well, you were wrong.
He didn't run 2 steps.
Okay,
last time.
you were wrong. But the reality is,
but I was wrong. But do you think? I mean,
you're picking Wayne Potts horses that I think you should probably be put in a straitjacket for picking. And this horse, who you can actually make a case for, coming off the claim, you don't have in the top 4. Well, you picked horses yesterday in like the second race that literally you should have been locked up for picking.
That horse,
that was the worst
ran
pick.
So bad last time.
The horse you picked in the second race?
He's
the 8th pole.
He's going to have to really move this horse up.
And he's
now,
running the horse for 32,000.
The fact that he is moving this horse up in class is in all likelihood a positive sign.
Now, is it possible he's doing the races of office a favor? Maybe. But I got to think he must think optimistically. And this horse at one time was pretty good. I would not. See, you act like these races are so simple. I don't think they. I mean, you got Castagno fourth. He's the least likely winner in the entire card. I mean, American Rule has even run some fast races lately. American Lincoln in his time has run some decent races. This field is full of horses that are capable of running figures in the low 80s, and you've got a horse who's running only figures in the mid-70s second, and you tell me it's a 2-horse race. You're wrong.
Because I'd rather a horse. I'd rather take a little shot with a horse like. If I'm going to spread, I'd rather a horse like Castagno, who may have a little bit of upside.
Well, he better have a Texas-sized bit of upside, because a little upside will get him 7th here. Maybe the Australia upside, the island will give him a chance. Anthony, I mean, this horse isn't even his best turf race doesn't put him in the hunt
so
here.
What do you want? So how about so
no?
We
The
haven't
point
had
I'm
one.
making is that you said before Ice's Doors race. It's not.
Okay.
It's not.
That's how I saw it.
I know,
so
but you oversimplify these races,
so
Anthony.
1 verse 7?
Oh, easily, yeah. But you oversimplify these races, and I think the point is that
4th pick.
you can't make money in this game, especially in multis, by going, I just like it just looks like the 2 favorites to me. Or, you do this all the time, and it's a mistake, and these races are complicated.
That's how I see this race.
I understand, Anthony. You should have spent about 20 more minutes looking at this race.
Because
you're wrong. You're wrong.
I know. I've seen enough of American Rule.
Anthony,
I don't like Hammer and Amer off the last race. I don't like American Lincoln off his recent form. Maybe you're right about Dark Storm.
It's not the point. You're oversimplifying races. It doesn't mean the finish won't be 4-3. It might be 4-3-2-1, but you're oversimplifying it. You're acting as though these are just sort of logical.
I feel like this race is.
I understand.
Maybe you're right,
you have
maybe
3 of them
right.
a day, and you're right one every 3 days. So that's good, but the reality is it's much more complicated than that. And I think the people at home, the worst thing somebody can do is look at a race and go, it's so obvious. You better be pretty clear. You better be pretty clear, and this is not a race, in my opinion, to be so clear. And normally when you say that,
maybe I'm right.
It's not a good record. Race number 7. You got this one narrowed down to 1 or 2?
3.
3? Yeah. Just 3. Only 3 have a chance in this race. Okay,
I like 3 horses.
And that means that the 9, 6%, is one of the worst to beat, not one of your 3. But category 1 is.
He's the 4th one.
He did run. Actually, Category 1 ran very well last time, to be fair to him. Jerry the Nipper. Jerry the Nipper is the kind of horse that you pick every single time. The chances that Anthony didn't pick Jerry the Nipper.
No, I was very close to picking. I was so close to picking Bourbon Bay in here.
There was
so
no
close.
chance you couldn't, because you can't get away from horses off wins. Oh, Bourbon Bay's off a win too. I mean, you like horses off wins like they never don't win 2 straight. Do they ever win these horses off wins?
I didn't. You know, I like this race.
You love horses off wins like no one I've ever seen.
I like this race that Jerry the Nipper's coming out of. I think the first 2 horses are going to be okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Well,
I think the 2
you
horse is a good bet against going forward. And I'm a little skeptical of this race. I wonder about Jerry the Nipper, because he has run well in his 2 races here. This is a big move up for him. And you're talking about a horse that's going to be 2-1 that's moving up significantly, and he's got to deal with the pace of Category 1.
Well, doesn't Category 1 have to deal with him?
They have to deal with each other, Anthony. You've got him first and third, and you told me it was a 3-horse race.
Yeah.
And now you don't think it is.
See, Bourbon Bay, my problem, I almost put Bourbon Bay on top. I don't love the fact that this horse is missing another chunk of time. I think he can win. I think he's going to need.
He missed the December 6th race, right?
Yeah. I think he's going to need a little hitting up front in here. I mean, he set a great trip last time.
Well, isn't there going to be a decent pace
should
in here?
be. There should be.
He did set a good trip last time.
He set a really good trip last time.
But he's always had ability this race.
I don't disagree, but the fact that he's missed another little bit of time is the only thing.
It's fair.
You know, you could counter that by saying he's going to be twice the price as Jerry the Nipper, which you probably will.
Jerry the Nipper's, I don't know, man. He's not. We'll watch the race that Category 1's coming out, where Op finished second and 6% third in Category 1. I won't argue that Category 1 ran the best race of anybody here. I just don't know where the heck it came from. And now he's got to deal with Jerry the Nipper, and I don't disagree with you, but I think they have to deal with each other. I think they're both talented horses with speed in this race. And I'm not saying they're going to go 22-44.
Right.
But I think they're both good enough. I mean, let me put it this way. I don't think that Juan Carlos Guerrero and Nick Juarez are planning on rating Category 1, and I don't think that Marshall Graham is either, who owns them, because they do what's in their best interest of horses to win races. And the best thing this horse to do is go, because he's good when he's aggressive. Jerry the Nipper has the advantage of sitting outside of him. I do think the Category 1's a better bet at a bigger price. I just don't see it forking out for him. But he did run well last time.
He ran well. I thought he did all the work last time. And
He did.
He only got beat 4 lengths.
No,
Now you might be right. He may have to deal with the same exact situation here with Jerry the Nipper on top of him the whole way.
See, I will agree that 6% was disappointing last time. I think he gets more pace today, and I think he can relax more comfortably today and make his run, because his prior 3 races are so good that I think last time out he was forced to be a little more in the race. Now, maybe he put him too much in the race. Here, relax a little bit, let him move up front and make your run. That's my hope with him.
Okay.
But I have to admit, he didn't run particularly well last time. So
But
he's going to have to bounce back.
He might be a horse
from
that needs to be allowed to settle a little bit further back from the pace and make one run.
Yeah.
And
But
he could
Category
get
1,
a little more help.
you're right. Category 1 ran better than he did last time. I don't know what to do with Jerry the Nipper, to be honest with you, because I think he's a horrible gamble at a short price. But I also think you might be right. He might be pretty good. So I'm going to use him, but I think he's a bad
I
gamble.
really, his race last time was good. I really liked his race too back where he was just off the long
he ran
layoff.
super.
Duking it out all the way. Didn't really give up the fight.
He ran super.
Yeah.
No.
He's got 2 races off the bench that I think either one of those make him a gigantic player here.
Well, he's a big player. I think he's a bad gamble at 2-1.
Okay.
That's my problem. And listen, if it falls apart, you don't think Twisted Tom has any chance to pick up the pieces?
I do. Again, we got to put 4. We only put 4. I think 6% probably has a better chance than Twisted Tom does.
But he's not impossible.
No.
It's a pretty deep race, I thought. I mean, let's be honest. Op didn't run that bad last time. He was sucking up, but maybe he gets a fast pace again.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. It's a pretty deep race, I thought. Race number 8, I actually picked Timely Tradition, Ray Handel, so I picked her and scratched her. Thanks, Ray. We'll take a look at Sharp Star. Sharp Star, ready to go for 1. I guess they're not upset they got a wet track.
These last 2 races that this horse has run, including this Go for 1 against Open Company.
I know.
You beat this field like a drum. I mean, they're not even close to the next fastest number any of these horses has run is Mrs. Orb. And
I agree. I wanted to pick against her. I thought Timely Tradition was very interesting.
I wonder if they scratched because of the
I
rail.
should have showed Laver. No, there's a race.
I
He's
saw
gotten 2
what he
pieces.
said, but it's
Why? What's wrong with the rail?
she was not the race in Saratoga. I was talking with the owner was at Prime with me that day, and
Oh, this is voodoo?
the feedback they
It's
got
like
was that she
owner,
was-
train. Oh,
the
Ray had some.
feedback. Well, who wrote her that day was it Joelle? Joelle just said that she didn't like being inside of horses, and then the next
I'm a little
time she
annoyed
came
at
outside of
Joel.
horses,
I got a
won.
bone to pick with my friend Joel. I'm a little annoyed with him, but we'll get to that later.
There'll be no bad mouthing Joelle Rosario in front of me.
He's one of those. But I'm
take
a
it
little-
up with him.
I'm a little annoyed with him, but I like him too. So you know.
I mean, these last 2 races this filly ran. I mean,
Yeah, I don't. You know, I looked, and the more I looked, it's like she might just be too good for these. We'll take a look at Espresso Shot and Fairy Fire running 1-2 last time, and the thing is, Espresso Shot is the last time was the time horse. You got 660 to 1. Prairie Fire, I didn't like her win last time. She's supposed to be better than those horses. I think Prairie Fire is sort of plateaued. Liv's done a good job with her, but she's not getting better. I mean, the only way these 2 horses, one of them wins, is if the favorite completely fails to show up.
Yep.
And I don't know that 7 Furlongs does Prairie Fire a big favor. I think her rallies get muted there. I thought Mrs. Orb was the other horse.
I thought because of the 7/8, I thought Espresso Shot might be the other horse.
But she's not. But she's got to deal with Sadie Lady up front, who took advantage of a good rail. I think the rail was getting good and sort of didn't notice it as much the 18th.
I think she'll sit right off of Sadie Lady. Right? If
Isn't
Sharp
Kendra
Star
going to be more
fires,
aggressive today than he was 2 back?
You think he's just going to try? Yeah, maybe.
Sharp Star, Trevor needs to be aggressive with Sharp Star because one thing I'll say about her, she's gotten better as they put her more in the game.
And
So don't get overconfident with her. You want her to be in the game.
Jose rode her last time too. You know, she might be a kind of horse. And when Jose Ortiz rode her to break her maiden, he was on top of her. So she might be a little lazy. A horse that you have to stay after, and a function of staying after her the last time was she was in the game a little bit more early on. So, yeah, I mean, look, if she shows up, she's going to win. We're talking about a horse that's going to be 2 to 5. She shows we're going to win. I think Espresso Shot's the second most likely win.
So Mrs. Orb's being sold in the sale next week? Did you see that?
I did.
Yeah, I'll take a look at her running second last time out. Think they're going to have a broodmare, or think she'll race again? I'm going to miss Mrs. Orb. I love Mrs. Orb. What a good job Mike Maselli's done with her.
You know, I'm a big Mrs.
You
Orb
love her.
fan.
You were way ahead of the curve on her. Way ahead of the curve.
Labor Day. Made a little
It's
Labor
one of
Day
these
score with her.
races where maybe slowing the pace down too much is not Mrs. Orb's fault. It was more about
They went
the horse
29
inside.
to the first quarter here.
They did go 28 and 55. The problem wasn't that. It wasn't that far off. The problem was they screwed up the posted second quarter. And track is just, honestly, if you don't see times, go to track. They're close to accurate.
Yeah.
And if you see, we need to be smarter about times here. We need to be able, after a race, to look at them and say, so the teletimer says 29:52. Well, they didn't go 29 and then 23 and then whatever. You've got to look at them and realize that there's a fractional error somewhere. It's not always the time. The 29 isn't nearly as bad as the silly quarters they had going at some point on the original times. And this happens in turf races. You have to know when the times are wrong. You have to just, you watch that many races, and I don't mean it's wrong by a half a second. Times are wrong by 3 seconds. If you've been around the racetrack and you're involved with timing, you have to be able to understand those things. They're fairly obvious, and as horse players know. I think Mrs. Orb's 5 and 7 furlongs. Why can't she come and put her run here? She can't beat Sharp Star. Sharp Star runs a race.
She could. I just thought a special shot may be a little bit better at the shorter distance.
I hope this isn't the last time we see Mrs. Orb.
Me too. I meant
But she is 6.
I meant to tell you that the other day. I had to take a look through the catalog for something I saw Mrs. Orb's.
Thinking of bidding?
No.
No? Okay, now we come to the most exciting part of the show. Anthony's going to tell us why he likes Wish for Magic in the last race. Take it away, Anthony.
I had an absolute...
Go to race number 9.
This one was the absolute...
So you spun a wheel and it landed on 5? No, I mean, listen, I'll accept that because it makes more sense than anything else, but go ahead.
She's getting a pair of blinkers.
Oh.
She's cutting back to a sprint.
Oh.
The sprint
'Cause
2
her sprints
back
were so
was,
good?
The sprint 2 back was
atrocious.
the best she's put forward. And you're really going to pick on any
Okay,
any
well, I'm going to
selection
say
in here.
something about her.
She's going to be 40 to 1.
I'm going to say what a problem is with her sprint 2 back, Anthony. And I have to admit, I had missed this, and David Aragona pointed out to me today. The race on November 12th, where she finished 3rd, beaten 9 lengths. The 2, Viva la Liberté. finished 5th when she was 3 lengths behind her. You might, I know that watching replays is against your nature. I understand that like your head catches on fire if you watch replays, but I'm going to suggest to those of you at home that you watch the replay of the start, both the pan and head-on of that race. Viva La Liberte might have had conservatively 10 lengths of trouble, and that's conservative. She was taken off of the course and onto the turn.
You know what the funny thing is? I actually watched that replay because I wanted to make sure I got the name right.
Well, apparently not, because you picked the horse that finished 3 lengths out of a horse that had 10 lengths of trouble, and you don't have in the top 4. Now, I'm going to admit, I missed the David, but at least I didn't pick the 5 in my top 4.
Okay.
You have to admit that's a little bit of a flaw, right?
I guess.
I mean, if you like the 5, you're supposed to love the 2.
No, I don't think you have to necessarily love the 2.
If you like the 5, you have to love the 2.
Okay.
Yes. No, that's actually a fact.
Okay.
It's a fact. You have to. I mean, may not, but you're taking a horse that ran a conservative 8 lengths better, and okay. So you're gonna hold your guns on that one. That's how stubborn you're gonna be here. That's how stubborn. No, yes, you are. I don't like to bet turf. The dirt horses are, but let me ask you a question. What was investment grade doing in California and running on the turf? This horse is supposed to be in front of this field. Manny Franco's is supposed to go out of the gate, and this horse is supposed to be 4 in front the entire way around the racetrack.
Trying to remember which day I questioned that. Probably was the last time because the other race.
Did they not know? If there was a cow, I want to be clear. If there's a cowbred running here, I might point out that they should maybe go to California.
A central banker out in California in turf sprinting.
My boy, central banker.
Yeah, it had to be the last time. It had to be the last time.
Actually, it's slightly better dirt pedigree on the dam side. Is a Dixie Union. This horse is fast.
It's a Sunday.
I mean, I know this horse is going to be a short price, but this horse is supposed to be in front of this field, at least early, would you say?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
9s and 2s for me. The rest of them, a lot of hunting and pecking going on around here. You ready?
In the slop.
You got a break. There's only 11 and 10 in the last race.
No, 11. There's an entry.
Oh, you're right. Oh, it's one of those ridiculous entry things.
No, it's actually a real entry.
Oh. Hey, our first real entry of the week.
It was a real entry. It was one other one, I think. It's one other one. You know where it gets most confusing?
I don't think there was.
You know what gets most confusing? With the silks.
Oh, yeah.
When you look,
different silks.
It's just a different hat. Right, more often than not, so if it's red, it's red.
Don't come complaining to me with your announcer problem.
It's not a problem, just explaining to you.
The game has a plethora of problems. Announcer problems, owner problems, trainer problems.
We had 4 sub-silks the other day. We had to go to the Belmont sub-silks the other day.
Really?
Yeah. We had a Belmont sub-silk the other day.
It's not easy being you, is it?
I wouldn't trade places. I'm going to give you the ultimate trainer speak. I wouldn't trade places with anyone in the world. That's trainer speak number. That is the first. Yeah. That is sentence 1. You know the Wedding Crasher rules? That is in the trainer speak book. That is number 1. I wouldn't trade places, not only in the country,
well, you know
with anyone in the world.
You know what the best thing about that is?
What?
It's always a lie. You never hear the trainer, like you wouldn't hear the trainer of 1 to 5 saying it. It's always somebody who's like would gladly trade places like 4 horses in the race. You need to make a trade if you're not a member of Naira Bets. You need to trade in that AEW and trade it in for Naira Bets. Think of how much fun you're having. I mean, just, if you don't join Naira Bets, who knows what could happen? Match 200. Support the game.
Who knows what could
Play
happen?
through Naira Bets. We'll match with $200 of your initial deposit. NairaBets.com.
50-50.
50-50. You love these.
I do.
Laurel and Aqueduct today on the app, and the app only 50 or more on each track, and you get a $10 bonus.
Walked in here 25 years ago. You remember Alex DeRosa? The late, great Alex DeRosa, assistant for Bobby Barbera? Passed away in a car accident up at Saratoga by the golf course.
Oh, I remember that.
Alex,
of course,
we grew up together. Walked in here.
Yeah. Was somebody else with him?
I believe his girlfriend.
Yeah.
My dad had Dale Cordova's book.
What, do you have a nickname?
His father was Chipper.
Okay, but I remember. Yeah, I remember that. That was terrible.
I said, I'm making a cold double. My dad can't lose the second with Cordova. Making a cold double with you. He goes, I got no shot in the first race. The horse was 4-5.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Tossed. Bet the horse I liked for second. Horse I liked for second galloped. Dad won the double.
Anthony,
Win
can
like
I ask you a
20
question? Could
win
you
like
tell one
2100.
story once? And I know it almost never happens, but one story where you didn't win.
I
know you've never had anything
I
happen where you
lose all
haven't
the,
won.
Who
but,
wants to think
but
about like this? Goes back to the optimist pessimist. Why would I want to remember the bad Gagley?
I
Gagley,
could tell a story about average adjuster.
Yagley, 125. I need Yagley for 125,000.
Is there anybody out there that remembers average adjuster? And I'm going to leave on that note. And I know one person on my Twitter will remember average adjuster.
I don't remember ever. When year was that? Before me?
I don't want to tell you. Oh, yeah. Anyway, we're done. I'm not.
He's done.
I am. No, I'm not really done. I'll be back soon.
He'll be back.
He'll be right back with a reprise, the scratches and changes.
Exactly. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Aqueduct. Little rain falling here in South Ozone Park. Temperature right around 40 degrees. Main track is muddy for today's 9-race card. Empire 6 starts in race number 4. Mandatory payout every day in January. The featured La Verdad goes as race number 8. Here are the changes for today's races. Early pick 5 begins in race number 1. You can scratch the number 2, Barefoot Dancer. Race number 1, scratch the 2, Barefoot Dancer. Early pick 4 begins in race number 2. Scratch the 1A, Dan the Man Can. Scratch the 1A, Dan the Man Can from race number 2. A scratch from race 3. Take out the number 2, Zuzudini. Zuzudini, the number 2 is out of race number 3. Again, mandatory payout in today's Empire 6 each and every day in January. No changes in race 4 where that Empire 6 begins. And there are no changes in race 5, the start of today's late pick 5. Race number 6 starts the late pick 4. Scratch the 6, Air Attack. Race 6, scratch the 6, Air Attack. A scratch from race 7. Take out the 1A, microsecond. Race 7, scratch the 1A, microsecond. Race number 8 is the 4th running of the La Verdad. Scratch the number 1, Timely Tradition. And this scratch being announced for the first time. Scratch the number 2, Sadie Lady. Again, in race number 8, scratch the 1, Timely Tradition. And a scratch being announced for the first time, scratch the 2, Sadie Lady. With that, there'll be no show, no trifecta or superfecta wagering in race number 8. And in today's finale, race 9, scratch the 4, Winter Warrior. Race number 9, scratch the 4, Winter Warrior. A muddy track for today's 9-race card. Empire 6 with a mandatory payout starts in race number 4. Post time for the opener is 26 minutes away at 12:20. Enjoy your day here at the Big A.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com. Need help in finalizing your picks for the next race? Check out the Trackmaster selections provided by Equibase on every U.S. thoroughbred and harness track on Naira Bets. Use these selections to get quick expert advice from professionals in the business. Check out the thumbs up graphic next to the pick and the wager pad and scroll down for more details on the horse. Trackmaster selections available on NyraBets and the NyraBets app.